Oh, you know what? I got to make sure. Am I on? I am. Okay. So, everyone, am I all right? I'm asking if you're ready. Week 17, right? Week 17. So, I know I've already been warning about this, right? But keep calm because that's all, folks. That's all, folks. Really? No laughs? No nothing? Really? I get no response for that whatsoever? All right, so I have quite a few things I want to go through, so I'll try to do it quickly. But at the same time, give you what I want to make sure you walk away with. So because it's the last lecture, double box, yeah, there you go. The last lecture, I want to talk to you about some stuff that I really try to follow and pay attention to. And there was really, in some ways, I ran out of time. I know we were joking before the video started about how my lectures have gotten progressively longer through the semester, and we talked about why. But there's so much to talk about, right? So here's one of the things that I really like to follow. There's this one called the 10 Breakthroughs of 2015. And here's the list, right? So here's a list. And I can't obviously go through it all, but there's a couple I think I really want to focus on, right? So the top breakthroughs of 2015. Because I think in the world, we really look to technology to help us kind of make this transition to where we're at better. But sometimes it makes it worse, I think. So there's two sides to technology. But in these cases that are highlighted here, some of them are really hopeful, right? So how many know what nano architecture is? Yeah, so what's nano? What does that mean? Yeah, so really, really small stuff. So we've been promised this idea of nano machines. I remember in college, when I was in graduate school, reading about nanotechnology and how it was going to save the world. So we're actually seeing some things. But what's interesting, too, about this list is if you go in and start looking at some of the materials, and in this case, this is actually some of the things they're building, what's interesting is to see how far it is out. It's actually not that far out. So and they're here talking about structures that are more are solid and things we can build on that are even more helpful long-term wise. How about car-to-car communication? Why do we need that? Why do we need cars to talk to each other? Yeah, well, we're already moving towards. Yeah, so we're already moving towards self-driving cars. Imagine if cars could talk to each other, right? Yes, well, they'd at least be able to try to, self-driving cars is the idea of that we can avoid collisions, right? Because do you know a huge amount of people die per year just from car accidents? And so the whole push behind, in some people's minds, the idea of a self-driving car was to try to decrease those. And we actually, I think we'll see some of that. But here's another one. How many of you, and this one I want in your notes, have heard of Project Loom? Loom? So here's the picture of it. So Google has created these huge balloons, and what they do is they put them up in the air, generally in third world countries or places where they don't have internet. And so what they do is they provide internet access to large areas that don't have it. Because how important do you think it would be for people to have internet access these days? Huge. Let's ask it this way. What percentage of the world has internet? As a world, what percentage has the internet? No, not 80. No, not 70. It's actually 30% have it, 70% don't. Yeah, most people don't realize that because we live in the US that has a huge percentage of our population has the internet, but when you look at the world, they don't. So this is an interesting project, and look how far off it is. It's actually 1 to 2 years. Wait, it's not that far. And actually, today it's already being prototyped. What's cool for me is I actually got to be in the room and talk to some of the engineers that are working on this at Google, and they talked about how they actually track these things, because they basically go out, they blow them up, put them up in the air, then they track them, and then they go thousands of miles. When they come down, pick them up and take them back, and they do that process again and again. But imagine the kind of program you'd have to write to track and monitor these things, right? I mean, this is it is crazy, but again, it's a level of a self-driving car too, right? The more intelligent our software becomes, the more things we can count on it doing. Now, liquid biopsy is one that's interesting, but this one, I think, what is this one? Put this one also in your notes. Mega desalinization. First, how many know the term desalinization? What does it mean? Yeah, so take salt out of water, because what's the biggest water source in the world? The ocean. And we can't use it because of the salt in the water. So imagine we could take the salt out. So this is mega. This is large scale because we're already seeing small scale stuff happen on this. By the way, let's look at how far out this is. This is actually available now. Israel. Israel has produced the largest so far. And I've seen a couple in the United States, but not at the level of what we see the folks in Israel doing. So there's both, for me, a hope and a concern here. Because imagine we start pulling all the water out of the ocean, right? We already are devastating our environment by our kill off. Do you guys know we're in the middle of the great extinction right now?
Yeah, there's a show, and then I was watching the coral reef one on.
Yeah. So why is so many animals and species dying off? We're eating them. We're eating them. That's generally, and then we're destroying their environment. So I don't want to get doomsday-ish, okay? How about this one? Why would Apple Pay be on this list? Anybody know? Well, okay, so you could go the whole, conspiracy. Apple's trying. Well, they might be, but okay. But why would they make the breakthrough? Why has Apple Pay been such a breakthrough? Yeah, it's easy, right? We've made payments easy finally, because payments have...
Back in the 80s, compared to now, it's all your phone. And now
Yeah, so you just have to have your phone and boom, you're done. So Apple, right, there's, to everything there's two sides, right? But in this case, what they've done is Apple took existing technologies and made it easier, right? Look at this one. We can actually, so we're starting at RC, we can regrow brain cells. Which all of us need, right? Now this one, I think, actually it is available now. They figured out how to regrow brain cells in the Petri dish. Now we got to figure out how to do it in humans. That'd be good, right? So, try it on animals first, of course, right? So this is the last one I want to talk about. Supercharged photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis? Plants, right? Taking the sun, converting it into something that's, plant-based. Yeah, right. So, but to do it on a grander scale, we're a little ways out from this. So we obviously have issues we have to think about. By the way, what contributes to 51% of the greenhouse gases in the world? Yeah, animal production, either directly or indirectly related. So, interesting, right? So for me, I follow these trends a lot because I pay attention and I do quite a bit I spend at least an hour a day looking at what's happening in the world, try to understand it myself. But here are some of the things I'm excited about too. How many of you know about the Internet of Things?
I would probably talk about it.
Yeah, so in your notes, Internet of Things. So these are devices that are connected to the internet that can make our lives even more, right, convenient. More information, like this is a real example, right? Refrigerators today, if I had an Internet of Things refrigerator, it could text message me that I need to bring home something from work because it would know because there was a camera inside showing me I'm low on something. So these are real world examples. The other one is so if somebody goes up to my door and rings a bell, I can have that connected so that I get a picture of who it is that's coming to my door. Yeah. If then, yeah. So the connected house, the connected car, right? Connected in many ways. So these are both exciting, and also there's a concern there. There's a security concern about that. So the other thing is social impacts, right? So I think anything we can do to have us have a bigger social impact, and I do think there's some really positive things here, right? I think as much as we like to complain about social networking, there is a positive side. Because when we're more connected, we see, how many of you knew within moments of what happened down in San Bernardino? Right? So you might think that's horrible, and it is horrible what happened, but nothing really can happen anymore without us all understanding at least that it happened, and being able to be more educated about the reasons why. And we could talk in detail, I'm sure, about that, but I think there are. So here's the other thing, space travel. I'm way excited about this. A recent development here, do you know? actually was a product.
I saw that rocket shot
Yeah.
into space and came back.
Who, by the way, rocket just got sent off and came back down.
Oh, privatized.
And then they
Privatizing space.
came down.
Right. Now, why is that unique that the rocket went up and came down? Because most time when you send a rocket up, you have to destroy part of the rocket and you have to bring it down a different way. By the way, who was the company that did it? Or who owned them?
It's not SpaceX, is it?
No, it isn't SpaceX, although they're doing some amazing stuff. It was Amazon. Amazon, the Jeff Bezos who runs Amazon helped fund, I think he owns the company who did it. So, I mean, there is some really exciting stuff that there's a possibility in my lifetime and yours. Would you, how many of you would, let's throw them, by the way, we forgot to say hi to everyone. Did we say hi? No, okay, everybody wave, all right. How many of you would go to space? Wow, see? Commercial, right? I'm up, send me, right? Yeah, I mean, how many of you have seen, right, the movies of space, right? The one with Sandra Bullock, Gravity, Martian. I want to see Martian. Who's seen Martian? Right? It was a good? Okay. Interstellar was good.
Apollo 13.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I get it.
I'm good.
All right, so the other category I watch a lot is about health, right? So this is the idea that our smartphones are going to become smarter and smarter and smarter.
How are they gonna make us healthier though?
Well, but think about it. If you knew, it's a good question, how do they make us healthier? If you knew as soon as you ate something, that impact on your body from your blood pressure, your heartbeat, all those things, do you think you might more likely change the way you eat if you knew the immediate impacts of the food that you eat?
I'd say no, because we know what we're eating nowadays.
Yeah, but people know, but they're not. Why aren't people changing?
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Okay, so we could talk about that, right? By the way, again, 51% of the greenhouse emissions is, because what is it going to take to make people start caring about the world environment? See the effects, feel the effects. You don't live at a place, by the way, you do live in a place that already has the impacts. You do. The fact that you don't feel it is probably because you're not paying attention. But you live in Fresno. You live on a desert, in a desert that is out of water. And part of that is because of climate change. And part of it is we have just more people we have to support, right? Sorry, I don't want to go down a bad road. But I'm just saying. So huh? What is going to happen? What is going to happen? I mean, here's the deal. Here's what I see happening. Right now, what is now really low? And people are kind of like, nobody talks about it right now. Gas. What happens when gas gets high? Everybody talks about it, and they start thinking about how can I do something different. I think we need to be paying what the real cost of water is. We need to externalize the cost, because that seems to be one of the few ways that people start to pay attention. Right? So to me, if the food really reflected the cost that it, not only the external, but not the internal, but the external cost, people would have a much better idea about the impacts of that. If you had to pay 3 times as much for your hamburger because of it, you might think twice and want a different option that costs less. Yeah. So to me, the best way to our consciousness is through our wallets. I mean, but again, okay, here's what I want to say to you too about this, and I'm going to leave it in a second. But, I'm not here to tell you how to think. And college should not be here to tell you how to think, right? It should be here to provide you information for you to go do your own research about this stuff. And if any professor is trying to tell you how to teach, we're not doing our jobs, okay? Because I have heard stories from students about this, and it's really not what we're here to do. So please, just educate yourselves. The more you're educated, the better citizens you're going to be for the world. Okay, off of my soapbox. Okay, so here's the other thing I want to say and there's one topic that I really didn't get a chance to talk about. I at least want to spend a few minutes talking about, and it's privacy and security. Because boy, is this a huge issue these days. By the way, why do you think this is these days such a big issue? What do you think has happened that started to make privacy and security such a big issue? We're all connected. It kind of goes back to what we talked about before. What else? Huh?
Everything moved to us.
Our information's everywhere.
Yeah, so the information about us is located in many different databases. Government scandals. You know the government is spying on you, right?
Oh yeah.
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 Since 2001.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to talk about that in a second as well, but I want to start with this concept. There is a connection between your privacy and your security. And this is an image that I normally give a lecture on, but this year I ran out of time. So here are all the things that are your private information. Okay, so let's consider this A. And here's all the things that make you secure. So like your social security number. If I was to start blurting out my social security number, how many of you would be like, oh my God, right? Because that's a private piece of information. And if I was to say it in this environment, right, I am affecting my security by sharing what's private about me. So this diagram really, and this is what I want you to have in your notes, is the more private you are, typically the more secure you will be. So the more private you are, the more secure you will be. You know, people are just becoming more, I think, and more aware. Matter of fact, they're really seeing that people are stopping to buy. Although this year we even saw still an increase in the amount of people buying on Black Friday. And actually it's called Cyber Monday now. Do you know this? Yeah. Right? So we still see an increase in these times of the year. But overall, people are starting to go, hey, I'm not sure I want to use my credit card online anymore. I don't know if I trust that company to keep my information, which I think is a good step.
I could assume, on Cyber Monday, you get all the hackers like, okay, let's go.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
I'm ready for this.
Right. So there's a lot about this topic, and really there's a couple things I want to say, and I actually put a link here to this guy. So one of the things that I do, because this topic changes all the time, is I listen weekly to this guy named Leo Laporte. He's one of my heroes, and he has a national radio show. And he talks to people who call in, but also he runs a whole network. He's basically the CNN of technology. And I've talked to him a couple of times, I've met him a couple of times, but he really does an amazing job. And here's some of the things that I've learned from him, right? So number one is have a secure password. What is a secure password?
Like a word you wouldn't find in the
A lot of
dictionary,
special
with numbers.
Okay, so it's called strong password, okay? And there's something called strong password generators, right? I use a couple. I actually use one, not this one. I use one called GRC because I know the guy, Steve Gibson, who runs it. So when I need a strong password, which is, by the way, pretty much anything that you care about, right? If it's a password to your bank, you should have a strong password. If it's a password to your credit card, really, even Blackboard should be considered an important password for you. Although I notice many of you have never changed it. Okay. Besides the topic. What? So let me find this where I'm looking. Oh, here it is. Perfect password. So when I go to this website, what it does is it generates, at the moment I went there, 3 different kinds of series of characters that I can then pull off. And this is honestly the way I choose a strong password is I come in here, because every time you come to the website, like if I was to refresh the screen, I'd get a different series of characters, right? And then I would choose, because here's the thing, you want length and you want upper and lower case randomly selected numbers. Now, what's the problem with that? Who remembers that? How do you remember that? We do 2 things. We tell you, make a strong password, but then nobody can remember it, right? So we tell you it's more secure to have a strong password, but then we understand. So what are we doing? What's the next phase in security? Biometrics, right? Fingerprints, retinas, something that you actually have to have on your person. So that is, I mean, this is a good step today. But how many of you have already seen phones that have, right? Fingerprint, right? Releases. So this is definitely an important thing. The second thing is, okay, so strong passwords is important for your security. The other thing is, how many of you update your OSs? Okay, so what do we mean by that? How often does Microsoft update their Windows? How often does Windows update? Not weekly. At least once a month, Tuesday. I think it's the 3rd Tuesday of the month. So why is it, how many of you actually load it as soon as it comes out? Good for you. For everyone else, you have made yourself more vulnerable because of, and put this in your notes, a 0-day exploit. So here's what happens. Microsoft says, hey, we have a security or some kind of bug in our software. And it says, we're going to give everyone the fix. So everyone means everyone. That means people that write software can take advantage or have malicious intent. We don't really call them hackers, though. Yeah, that's okay, because most of you, that's what you think hackers are bad people, right? Yeah. Yeah. So hackers are actually people that just like to tinker with things, make things. And by the way, you know did you say the movie you were talking about? Hackers. Well, okay, there's another one I was thinking about. The one with Matthew Broderick, War Games.
Oh, that one. Okay,
Right?
no.
He's a classic hacker because all he wanted to do was play the game. Now, he did it crazily, but okay. So the point is this. You need to keep your software updated, whether it be on your mobile phone, on your desktop, whatever it is. Because even though there may be a tendency to say, well, maybe they've broken something, well, they've most likely fixed more than they broke, okay? So keep that stuff updated. Yeah,
So you said there's always a chance of you losing your information.
sure.
So if you update yourself.
Sure. Here's the deal. The more websites that you visit, and I'm not saying you, but in general, more websites that you visit that are sketchy, the more likely you're going to get something, right? And that's the other thing is you want to make sure. How many know what this means right here? This lock?
Secure domain.
It's secured. That means the conversation in this example between myself and Gmail is secured. Now, is it 100%? Nope. But it's better than, let's see, Blackboard is also secured, right? Let's see what's not. This site is not secured, but it's also not asking me for private data. Anytime a website asks you for anything personal, it should have that lock on there. And if it does not have that lock on there, you should stop immediately. Like this happened to me just the other day. I was ready to make a purchase from one of my favorite websites, and I noticed their lock, because you actually have to re-up that, was out of date. And I almost didn't purchase, so I called them up. I go, do you know your lock's out of date? We call certificates out of date? And they're like, oh my God, we didn't realize. I'm like, how could you not realize? Right? Made me worry. I was like, not sure. You know, they were, yeah, and then they started, well, we need this. Anyway, so the point about this is this requires for you to constantly educate yourself about this and the idea that, what's the idea here, just to review? What's the idea? Yeah, so the more private, the more secure you are. So I also kind of related, because there's what we do for our own privacy and security, and there's understanding the larger context, and that's where this guy is one of my heroes. By the way, who knows who this guy is? This is Edward Snowden. So who is Edward Snowden? So in your notes, first just put Edward Snowden. So Edward Snowden worked for the CIA. He was a contractor, okay? I have a link to him right here. So this is actually to a documentary that I recommend you watch, and it's called Citizen4, and it really helps people who don't understand who Snowden is understand what he did. He gave up, here's what happened with Snowden. He was a CIA contractor, and he saw the information that the government was collecting on all of us, and he knew it was not right, and he blew the whistle, but he did it in a way that tried to minimize the impacts to things that we wouldn't want told to other countries, but he still released a lot of data. Okay, and what happened to him? He had to leave the country. Where does he live right now? Russia. Okay. So this guy gave up his life because he believed what our government's doing is wrong. Now, whether you agree or not, at least educate yourself on this guy, because to me, this guy is a hero, because he started to bring our awareness up about what kind of data is being tracked about us. And the thing is, you guys all said earlier, I know the government's tracking me, and you don't care. Most of you don't care, right? Should you care?
Yes.
But why don't you? And that's generally what I hear. When I ask this, I hear, well, I'm not doing anything that would make me concerned anyway. Well, could you be flagged even if you weren't? Yeah, right? So there's a balance between keeping us secure and keeping our privacy. We all know this. There's a real balance because our government is vested to keep us safe. We know that. And it is not an easy job. I know that. But I think they have gone way too far in our privacy. All right, my soapbox is over on that one. Any questions about that? No? Okay. So Edward Snowden, I love him. Watch them. The documentary is called Citizen 4.
They let him go to Russia?
Huh? Well, actually, he was first in Asia somewhere. Matter of fact, the movie was in where he had to leave there because they wouldn't protect him. Okay, and he had to leave there. So
He goes somewhere where the U.S. is like, I'm not going to
yeah.
go to that country.
Yeah, they couldn't extradite him from Russia. And by the way, he lost all contact with his family. He lost everything, right? It wasn't like he just woke up one day and said, I'm going to do this. He really thought about it. Matter of fact, that's what the documentary shows, Citizen 4. And last semester, I had a little more time. I actually showed it in class because I had access to it.
How
But
come we actually let the movie play? How did the government let them make that movie? Why did the government let them make it?
well, the government can't control everything, right? And it wasn't just in the U.S. It was actually, again, watch the documentary, right? Educate yourselves about it. So I was going to spend a little time talking about my view of the world, but I think I've kind of told you. Right? I think I've kind of, through this, told you my view of the world, right? And here's the deal. I think it's real easy to look at the world right now and become cynical. How many would agree with that? Right? It's really easy to look around and kind of go, oh my God, what are we doing? We are heading off a cliff. I really work on seeing the world in a positive way because I think my view of it helps contribute to it. And by seeing it as horrible, you help make it horrible. And there's also a point that we have to be educated about what's going on, but try not to be as affected about it because you can become downright depressed if you look at all the things happening in the world. But you can also start doing things that you feel make a difference so that you feel better about being here. You all are in school. You want to make a difference, right? I mean, I would say that that's true. All right, enough of that. I could go on and on and on, but I won't. All right, so let's talk about this. So let's switch topics. So in your notes, I say this because this has now come up again. How many of you know the difference between late work and late points removed returned?
Didn't we go over this on Tuesday?
Yeah, we are. Yes, we did. And
Have you asked the students if they've watched your video? If they don't remember watching my
all right.
video.
So let's just clearly say it. So what happens if you do something late?
You get 75 points.
Okay. So now does it vary? Hold on. Does it vary per item? How it works?
Quizzes,
You guys didn't get it. Exactly. If you do a quiz late.
you'll still get the 100.
Okay, hold on. If you do a quiz, if you don't do a quiz and I go grade, what do? I put a.
Zero.
And how do you get that 0 up or cleared? You just complete the quiz, okay? How about okay, no points removed. Because why?
You can't get in there and
Because,
take off points.
yeah, it's a pain in the butt for me.
You can't
Okay, I
do
can't.
too much.
It's a pain. I've been lying to you the whole semester, right? Okay, now, I wasn't lying. I was just, I was using my word. Okay, thank you. That's good.
It's just not telling.
I wasn't telling you the complete truth. All right, so let's go through the list, though, because here's where I see most people still not getting it. How about with my IT lab? What happens if you do it late?
You get a 75.
Okay, first of all, 0. 0 goes, you have to, on this one, you have to tell me. Because remember, I wake up on Tuesday morning, and I go over to my IT lab, and I enter grades in the blackboard, which, by the way, can I make a mistake there? Yes. Dang it, I'm not perfect, okay? This is why by the way, many of you are doing a great job at checking your grades, right? This is your job. All right, so now how about hands-on? Let's say you do that late. How does that work? Does somebody's phone go? If you did hands-on late, how does it work that you get graded for that?
You do the hands-on, and then you update your spreadsheet, and then you grade it.
Yeah.
and you give it.
So you do it, right? You tell me. By the way, here's the deal I want you to know. If an explanation is in the grade book, I will see it.
Yeah.
But if there's not an explanation, I won't see it. Right? Everybody with me? Right? Okay. All right, so let's see, what's the other thing? Classwork. How does that work if you do it late? Just do the work, the explanation will show up, and I will grade it, and I will remove. By the way, anything I have to touch is why I decrease the points. I know, self-serving, right? Horrible. No, it really is my way. Okay.
Come on, students.
All right, so let's be clear about this. How does it, then how does late points removed returned work?
You do the extra credit that you provided.
All right, so what is the extra credit items? Good. Code Academies,
The My IT Lab training.
My IT Lab trainings.
And then there's the extra work you gave us that 2 weeks back.
Yeah, so there's been stuff through the semester, right? That's right, I gave you alternatives. All those alternatives could be applied. But the thing is, this works differently. This you have to keep track of.
Yeah. You have to put your comment.
That's right.
on there.
That's right. If you don't tell me what you did, give me the proof, give me a yes or no that I fill out, tell me what item you want to apply it to, I'll make the comment. If you don't do this and share it with me, that doesn't get done. Now, let's take this one step further. Let's say you had 6 of these items and you don't use them all. What happens to them if you don't use them? Nothing. I've had people ask me, hey, Rio, I did like 6 of these extra ones, but I don't need them. I'm like, that's why you track them, right? So they were asking me, well, can't I apply that to student? And I'm like, no, it's only for late points removed. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking on the room to see if you got it, right? Oh my God. The online's into it. Can you only use 4 of them? Yeah. I'm not even going to joke about that. How many can you use? As many as you have done that you need. See why I had to go over it? Yeah, but that's okay, right? I mean, the thing is, though, and by the way, when's the last date you can use that? 14th. You know, the online students can't hear all this buzz going on in the room, but, because that's why I'm going to talk about this next item. All right, let's do this. So here's, what? So the next topic that I have is this, right? Which is my planned grade.
Oh, okay.
Okay? This leads right in. This leads right into this topic, right? So here's the deal. You have to download it from week 10. Okay? And some of you I've already talked to are already updating this. Jake.
What if we haven't turned in the original one?
Very good question. I actually had this happen. If you hadn't turned in the original one, you can do it now, get credit, at least late. If you don't have late points removed, you can at least get late grade on it, because you're going to need it for this one as well.
Yeah.
So it's a twofer. You guys know what a twofer is?
2 for 1.
Right, 2 for 1, okay? So download it out of week 10. It is an Excel document, right? Okay, now, so step 1 is download it. Step 2 is you update with all the items graded to date. Now, I actually have an example here, okay? And that's what I did. Is I went through, this is nobody's grade in here, okay? But I went through and updated it with all the grades to date. And really, in this example, in this example, how many items are left? 3, right? And what percentage of the grade is gone? 92%, right? So in this case, so first what you do, you download it, and then what do? You update it, and this step is so important. So make sure you're getting all this in your notes. Is once you update, make sure the spreadsheet equals what's in Blackboard. If you don't do this step, what you're going to do next is not going to give you good information. So once updated, make sure that whatever is in your spreadsheet is equal what's in Blackboard, okay? So in this case, in the example I'm showing you, I would stop right here. I would go over to Blackboard and make sure that equals. And if I put a 0 in your grade book, you have to put a 0 in there, or else it won't balance out, okay? Or whatever the grades are, and if you don't do it exact, it won't work. Okay, everybody good so far? Next step, place grades you think you will get on all remaining items. Okay, so this is your best guess, I'd call it. So let's actually do this, okay? Okay, that's all right. All you have to do is place grades you think you will get in all the remaining items. We'll come back to it. Okay, so in this case, what did I say we have left? We have 3.
I assume for the rest of them you're gonna get a 75.
Okay, so let's say I get a 75. I get on the classwork 75. At that point, I still have a what?
Final exam.
I have an A, but I still have the final. So this doesn't represent my.
4% too, so
That's right. So by the way, I've been saying 5. It's 4.87, right?
let's round up.
Okay. Well, I had to actually round down for a reason, but that doesn't matter. So in this scenario, how would I do this next step? Because what's the question right now this spreadsheet's going to answer for me?
What's your grade?
The predicted grade for the whole class.
Is it actually at this point a predicted grade for the whole class? No, because it's not 100% yet. It's 95%. When it's 100%, then that should be what you get in the class.
What'd you get with that?
So let's say this. Let's say I don't want to take the final. What would I put here?
Get this final.
Now, look what that did in that example.
We are 100% complete.
We are 100% complete, and what did it do to the letter grade? Right, it changed and again, here's the deal. Your grade will vary. This is why I want you to do this, right? This doesn't mean, this just means a scenario that I'm showing you. Now, can you actually figure out what grade you would need to get on the final to get what you want? Yeah, so let's actually start it by doing 50. Oh my God, 50% gets me closer. Let's go 70.
Oh, so close.
Let's go 75. Oh my God, let's go 78. Oh my God.
You gotta have-
Everybody understand what I just did?
Yes. A lot of that.
Yeah?
Wait, hold up, wait, he was talking, you were talking, so it.
See? So in this case, I just went through and figured out what I needed to get on the final in this example to get an A in the class.
Okay, so
Now,
you just picked random numbers.
I did. I just picked random numbers. Not random. By the way, it wasn't random, was it? Because we started at 50 and then we incremented up, so it wasn't random. But let me ask you this. Let's go back to 0 for a minute. Is there another way to get to an A in this scenario?
Yes.
What is the other way to get to an A? Yeah, exactly. Start doing what? How many items do I have to do extra credit or get the points back to get to an A? Uh-oh. Not that one, right? Oh, one more?
Yeah.
No,
So the question is, what do you want to work on, right?
there you go.
What do you want to work on? You want to work on the final, or you want to do some of that other stuff? If you want to get where you want to be. Now, again, this may not be your reality, but this is why I want you to do this spreadsheet. Make sense? Okay, so that's why this is step really important, is place the grade you think you will get in the remaining items. Okay? So once you're done with that, then I want you to load it to Google Drive. So we're going to move it from an Excel local file into the drive. You go to Google Drive. Anybody need me to show you this part, or do you know how to do it? You just go there and you do new file upload. Do you need me to show you? Yeah? Okay, so let's do it. I would go to Drive. And then here, I would do new, and I would do file upload. See that? I'd do file upload, and then I'd go find the file and upload it. That's all you got to do. And then what do you have to do, though, once you upload it, is you have to share it. You have to share it with me, right?
Correct.
So you have to share it with me, and then provide the link in your classwork. Make sense? So where this gets just a little bit more interesting is if you're really close between one letter grade or the other. That's why if you're close, you really want to be on this, and the sooner you get it done, the better. I am going to make you one last offer on the whole final thing. Which, by the way, let's just be clear. Where's the final? My IT lab. It's in, we did this the other day, so you don't have to do this. Where is it at? It's course material, exam, final exam. How many times can you take it? 3. I did modify it so it is saved for later, so you can start it and come back to it. Okay?
Thank you.
And if you do 2 attempts, which one will get recorded? The highest one. So, and when am I going to record your grade from my IT lab final into Blackboard.
The morning of the 15th,
The-
that'd be
the-
good food
yeah.
for you.
You know me so well. Yes, the morning of the 15th, I wake up, I did that this morning, okay? So, okay, everybody clear? Now, here's the deal. Let's say you're really close and you are going to do the final before that morning. Could you ask me to post a grade into Blackboard? Yeah. You could email me and say, hey, Rio, I did it. Could you post that into Blackboard so I'm absolutely sure of where I'm at? Because what's ultimately going to get posted to the campus? What's in your spreadsheet or what's in Blackboard? Blackboard is the authority. Your spreadsheet is just a planning document. Okay? Everybody clear about this? Yeah? All right. So this is what I said at the very end. If you are very close to the next letter grade, then email me, right? Before then, if you want to know for sure. I actually have already had a couple of people already complete, and they're done. They've already said goodbye to me because they got finished ahead of time because they knew what was coming. And by the way, I tried to set it up to have you do that. And you have 2 weeks left, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I do want to just 14th. What happens? What happens on the night of the 14th? Okay. Very good. On the night of the 14th, last date to do what? To take the final, and last date to ask me to late grade anything. And I wake up the next morning and I take care of all the grading that you've asked me to do. And then what do I also do on the 15th is I remove access. You can no longer work on anything on the 15th. It is also called a what? A review day. Right? On that day, if you had asked me to late grade, or forgot to ask me to late grade, can you ask me at that day?
Yes.
If you had completed the work,
Prior.
right? Had been, you just forgot to ask me. That's right. Okay. Then what do I do on the 16th?
You do your water.
No, on the 16th, I post grades into Blackboard.
Oh, the 17th.
You laugh at our mistake.
On the 17th, I don't laugh at your misery. Okay. On the 17th, I will start going dark. Okay. By the 18th, I will be dark. And dark means I'm basically offline. Okay. And I will remove myself out of chat as you can. Okay? Good? Good? All right. So, honestly, the last thing I want you to do,
Pay us for it.
right? I'll pay you for it. No, I will not. And it will not affect your grades. So I really, here's the thing I'd like you to know, and I hope you actually already have a feeling for this already. I really do spend quite a bit of time thinking about the materials that I offer up into this course. There are some I don't have a choice with, my IT lab to be specific. But there are some I do, like all the classwork stuff, all the hands-on stuff. That's all stuff I get to choose, and I really want to hear your feedback, right? What do you feel you've learned the most from? What do you feel you've learned the least from? And if you don't feel comfortable doing that in there, right, I do have the Rate Your Professor, right? And by the way, I recommend you do this for us as professors. Really go out there and give other students your feedback about these instructors, okay? About us. By the way, anybody checked my ratings lately? Can I be really happy for a minute? 48, 4.8. But what's even more exciting for me than my score, which is really pretty good? No, not my easiness. And not even my hotness. That's kind of nice, but okay. What's really cool for me is this number right here. 141 students have rated me. That's nice for me, right? Because, 141 students have actually taken the time to go and give their feedback on my course. Nah. But thank you. That's nice to hear, all right? So that's really what I wanted to say is please give me your feedback. I do definitely read it. I pay attention to it. I reflect on it. I am already ready almost for next semester, believe it or not, because I want to go. So the last thing I want to say to you is, if you can dream it, you can do it. This is so true. How I got to teach was I was actually a contractor for Fresno County. And I went to teach, and I loved it so much, I could really feel myself doing it. And the thing that you can see yourself doing will pull you into having it happen. So dream big, my friends. Don't dream small. Dream big and feel that thing coming at you. The lovely quote that my friend Todd McLeod said of Bill Gates is he said, you find the thing that, you want to do and you get ahead of it and you let it hit you. I love that quote, right? And that's what, if you can do that, look at the world, find out what you're passionate about, get ahead of where the trend's going and let that trend hit you, and believe me, you will go wilder than your wildest dreams right now. Okay? So that's my advice to you. And I'm really thrilled, although some are cynical, about what Zuckerberg did. Anybody know what the Facebook owner did recently?
Giving away like
99% of his money he's going to give away.
over his lifetime.
Over his lifetime.
Charity.
$450 billion.
I could use some of that.
Well, can that actually really change the world, that kind of money? Yeah, right? Now, it'd be interesting to see where it goes, right? But at the same time, we can all make a difference. We absolutely, your attitude, the way you treat people, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat your world will make a huge difference. And if you don't think it does, I think you actually think it does, because again, that's why I said this earlier. That's why you're here. You want to make a difference in your lives and the lives of people around you. And by the way, I got this picture from the guy who did the famous last lecture. He knew he knew he was dying. He was a professor, and he gave his last lecture because he knew he was not going to be around, right? And it's like, make an impact in your life, or make an impact on the people around you. All right, let's show them. Everybody wave. Bye, 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 bye. Peace out.